And we talked a little bit about this last week, David, on our show, and I think we want to get your take on it. We talked about the district tournament and how Missouri's went to this point system and an 18 district, and basically you pile up points on winning games. And I know if you play up a class, you get points for just playing up, but then you get more points if you beat them or beat them by 13 plus. And same thing, you play down a class, you don't get any points. But if you win over 13, you gain points, and it's got this BCS type of feel to it.
And plus, it depends on what the record is of the opponent you're playing too. That adds into like a strength of schedule type thing. Which
I don't think that's I don't think that's weighted very high.
No, but it's still part of it, and it's the whole thing. You got to be a mathematician just to figure it out. And it's
well, the thing is, is this the third year we're in it? Third year, I believe, isn't it?
Fourth year, I think.
Fourth year?
Yeah, I think this is the fourth year of it.
Anyways, we've had some, we've basically had a sample to work from, especially these athletic directors, these school districts looking at, okay, how does this work? How should we schedule? But we've had some seasons to look at and how to schedule for these district tournaments, and basically we went from 4 to 18 districts. So there's 8 teams, and the top 4 seeds in the districts get the first home game. So your 1 through 4 seeds will host the other 4 teams in their first game. So you always want to get that first district, so you can have that first home game at least. And that's what everybody's fighting for. And from what it looks like, especially this year, stood out to me, and how to schedule for your district tournament. Because I know the narrative was coming in to this system and how it was set up is if you play a competitive schedule, you'll be awarded for it. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's really played out that way.
Not really. You kind of look at it. This is the second scheduling cycle. You go in 2-year cycles, and this is the second year, the end of the second year, and a lot of teams are looking to get out of their tough schedules and looking to get into some easier games. Especially late their last 2 games before districts. They want to get a couple of easy wins. That way they know they can boost their seeds if they need to. You look at schools like Hillsboro. Hillsboro doesn't play a very tough schedule. I think they start off with St. Louis University High, which is a bigger school. And outside of them, I think they played Poplar Bluff. It's is a bigger school, and everybody else is kind of a weaker opponent. Well, they rolled through everybody but the 2 bigger schools, got the top seed in the district, and then look what happens in their district semifinal. They just get hammered. Yeah. There's a lot to be said for scheduling easy, getting those easy wins, because a lot of times whether you schedule tough or hard, you are what you are, and you're gonna you're gonna be remembered for an 8-2 season or a 5-5 season, because you're probably going to get only as far as the team you're not going to beat anyway in your district. So I would say schedule light and get as many wins as you can. Try to get that high seed. Try to get as many home games as you can. And who knows, if maybe you may not be as talented as this team, but maybe you can pull an upset. The flip side to that is maybe Crothersville. Crothersville plays a pretty tough non-conference schedule. They play Liberty. They play St. Genevieve late. Play these tough teams to get ready for Malden, who has kind of a lighter schedule. You play these teams to get ready for Malden, and we'll see how that pans out Friday night. Maybe them playing those tougher games and a game that's going to be close, maybe that benefits them, and then they can get a win. But if it was me and I'm an AD, I schedule light and try to get some wins.
Sure. And like I said, the narrative was schedule tough, and you'll just get points for playing tough. But the thing is, if you take a 13-plus point loss, you're docked. Mm-hmm. So that kind of just washes when you play a good team that's up a class.
Right. I've never understood the whole 13-point. I guess I do understand a little bit the 13-point thing, but at the same time, I think in this format, you could just do away with that. Okay, you're going to play up. Okay, give them points for playing up, and then only if they lose, and then subtract just a little bit of those points, split them in half or whatever. I don't know. There's no right way to do it. I wish they would just, play your games, go in and have a seed meeting just like you do in basketball. Let the coaches seed them, and then go that way. I think that would be a better way to do it. It works just fine in basketball. I don't see an issue with it. And
I think the only catch there is home field advantage is at play, and I think they probably don't want to stack the deck, against maybe a couple coaches kind of
Right,
stacked against
coaches
one team. Yeah.
Right, and that's the argument for it. But I think in most cases it would be. I think it'd be okay. It would be a glaring. Most people know kind of how it should be stacked up. I think you kind of look at Class 2 around here. I think pretty much everybody knew how it was going to stack up. You had your Portersville, East Prairie, because they all play each other, so you kind of know who's who. Portersville, East Prairie was the one. Portersville beat East Prairie in the regular season. Okay, so Portersville gets to host that 4 or 5 game. Yeah. It kind of in that case it works itself out. In other cases like the Class 4, I mean they don't play each other. I think you should make the district opponents play each other, kind of a little bit like Arkansas. Make them play each other, and then you have pretty much your districts are set by who beats who. And I prefer it to be that way. I know other people are against that, but I think if you're going to be in your district, just go ahead and play them, and then let things work out how they may.
Yeah, I think Dexter's run and their schedule is kind of the template to look off of, because it really played that
not to do.
Yeah, what not to do. And Dexter's probably got the toughest schedule in Southeast Missouri, I would say, for the size of school they are. They play Bluff, Class 5. They play Sykes in Class 4. And the weakest teams they play, or I wouldn't say weakest, I mean the smallest schools they play are Crothersville and Malden, some of the better teams they'll play in their schedule. And the teams that that they beat handily, New Madrid County Central, Charleston Class 2, right?
Right.
And then New Madrid Class 3. But other than that, they've got a very good schedule.
You look at their non-conference schedule. Of course you're going to have to play your Crowsvilles, Charlestons, but you look at their non-conference schedule. You're playing Class 5 Poplar Bluff. You're playing Class 4 Sykes, and all they're both in the district semifinal games. And your Class 3 schools that you're playing St. Genevieve and Park Hill Central, the two best. They're playing for the district championship. Yeah. They're the two best in your district. And then Malden is what it is, undefeated Class 2 school. You don't want to schedule a smaller school and then lose by 13. That doesn't help you at all. So Dexter had a tough schedule. One of the toughest, like I said, one of the toughest around, especially for a Class 3 school. They had a really tough schedule, and it certainly didn't help them. I heard on the radio after they lost to Malden. They were still thinking they may get that 6th seed. Play at Kennett, and then
that was looking good for them.
Yeah,
they beat Kennett already.
Then the district seeds come out, and they're 7, and you got to go back up to Park Hills and play
about 2/10 of a point.
Play it, and it just kind of, and nobody really thought that they would drop that far and Fredericktown would jump them, but Fredericktown did, and Fredericktown doesn't really play a tough schedule.
And it's how that played out. Fredericktown had finished a 2-7 season.
Won their last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Dexter was 3-6, so you got that. And then Fredericktown played North County the last game of their season, rolled over them, which North County's Class 4 school.
Right. It was
so they got the double whammy. They got the playing up points and the 13-plus points.
Right.
And then Malden plays down Class 2. Malden lose by 29 to a smaller school, so they got double whammy in the other direction. So that's what put Fredericktown ahead.
Right, and as everybody's going through it, like I said, it takes a mathematician to figure out. I don't think anybody ever thought that Dexter would drop that. Dexter's clearly a better football team than Fredericktown. Clearly, and I think everybody wanted to see that Dexter Kennett matchup again. Dexter beats Malden. They jump. They jump up in that 5 seed. I think is what they were going to jump into. Maybe even the 4 if things would have fallen their way. But and they ended up at a 7 seed. That the schedule bit them, and and Dexter still went up and gave Park Hills all they wanted for about 3 quarters, and then Park Hills kind of pulled away late. But the schedule did bite Dexter, and when you're looking at what not to do, it's schedule these tough teams. Dexter's a better football team than a 3-win team. I mean, that was a better football team than that. But it's just the way it worked out this year.
Yeah, Dexter ended up being a pretty exciting team to watch. So Stevens taking off for 200-300 yards every game.
400 yards against Park Hill Central, one of the top teams in Class 3. It's like that'll open your eyes. It's just a shame that their season kind of came. I would have liked to have seen them maybe be on a get that 4 or 5 game, because if I had to look at it, I'm looking at Dexter in that district as maybe one of the top 4 teams. Yeah. They beat Kennett, who was the 3 seed. So maybe Dexter was as good as a 3 seed. Maybe they make a little run there if they were just in a different game and have a chance to play them in a district semifinal or something. But it didn't happen. Didn't happen that way.
Yeah, that Class 3 is pretty competitive, pretty evenly competitive through pretty much the 6 seeds, top 6 seeds, pretty even across the board. So there you go. And the way I say it, how to schedule is schedule teams that you can get wins, and just pile up the points consistently throughout the season.
Yeah, but don't schedule a lower team if they're gonna be really really good. That's not that's not what you want. But Dexter Mullen, that's a rivalry. That's a game you have to schedule. But it's just kind of funny how that worked out this year. It's a shame for Dexter it worked out that way.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays going forward, and they might tweak that point system a little bit. You never know. So we'll see how it plays out in the years ahead.